Hello, and welcome to 472 Main Street, a show about issues and people in the town of Acton. I'm Steve Ledoux. I'm the town manager here, and our guest today is Laura Ducharme. Laura is our community services outreach worker. It's a position that was created by town meeting back in 2008 to deal with some of the underserved populations in town, and Laura's been with us since about '08. I think we made her full-time about 2 or 3 years ago. But so I thought it was important for the folks out there to kind of understand what Laura does. So welcome, Laura. Glad to have you on the show. And what I like to start off, because you never know, there might be some young people listening that might get moved by something our guests say and might be interested in finding out how people get started in whatever profession they're in. So tell me a little about yourself, how you got into social work as a profession.
Sure. I am a graduate of Fitchburg State University. From there, I did a lot of practicums and internships with the Human Services program, and I started with the Head Start program in Leominster, which originally my interest was the children and the child care focus and early childhood education. And as I worked more with the children and saw the social service side that Head Start provides for their families, I became interested in their role. They have coordinators like myself that work directly with the families that are enrolled in Head Start. So it started off wanting to work with young children, and then it kind of evolved into working with young children and families that may have social service needs. So that's kind of how it all began.
Okay. And then somehow you gravitated to Acton.
To Acton, yes. And I'm very happy to be here, and I can say that in the 15 years I worked in the field of human services, this job I have with the town allows me to use all of my previous jobs.
That's good.
So without those jobs and those positions, the experiences I bring here, I wouldn't probably have today. So it's been very interesting. Yeah.
So talk a little about what kind of populations you've served in the past. You did talk about the children and things like that, but
Yes, a bulk of my work has been with children and families of early childhood, elementary age. I have done work with adults, a lot of health care access work back when we first began in Massachusetts to mandate that all individuals and families have health insurance. So I've done a little bit of an array. I've worked with adults, I've worked with disabled adults as well through group homes, and I've done residential work with children and families as well. So.
okay. How do residents hear about the services offered through your office? I mean, I know your office is next to mine, so I do see you have a lot of traffic every day. But how do people find out about what you do and what your services are?
I think the two biggest things are word of mouth and the Acton Memorial Library. I have a flyer that's posted there with tear-off tabs that seems to be continuously torn. I'm always refilling that flyer going over to the library, and also the town's website. A lot of people do access the town's website and find my information on there as well.
So what type of services does your office provide to the residents that come in to see you?
Well, I tell folks there is no cookie cutter approach to what I do day to day. Everyone's needs are different at times, so we try to coordinate services to meet the families or individuals' needs at that time. But the main things that seem to come through are fuel needs, whether that's home heating through gasoline, through natural gas, or through oil heat or electric heat. Food. We have food insecurities with some of our families. They may not be able to provide enough healthy food, or even with benefits from food stamps, they may not always stretch throughout the month. And we have a lot of housing. A lot of housing needs, affordable housing, affordable rental properties. Those seem to be the big ones that usually come through.
And so you sometimes try to plug people into other programs you're aware of, either state or federal programs to supplement, and I know you're going to talk about SERVE and what that provides later, but
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, we always start with what's available at the state and federal level. We try to enroll families onto services that they are eligible for. Sometimes there is wait, or there is not an immediate filling of that need. So we look at local funds as well to help bridge that gap. But the first step is always to go with what is being offered through the state of Massachusetts and the federal government. But all situations are unique and different, so we encourage people to call to talk about their situations.
Okay. What do you feel? A lot of people view Acton as a relatively, affluent community. What do you feel are the biggest needs for the underserved population in Acton?
From my perspective, I think the town is doing a wonderful job with welcoming and acknowledging and understanding the needs of some of our residents and the needs of my position within the town. In terms of Acton being a more affluent community, it's there, but we have a lot of families that want to come to the community, that want to live here, that enjoy it here, and they feel welcome here. And I think the town is doing a wonderful job on all levels with that.
So what do you think some of the biggest needs are for the families that live here? Then you did talk about food and heating and things like that.
Well, the rent's a big one. We do have a lot of rentals in town, so sometimes finding an apartment may be not difficult, but keeping up with that apartment can be difficult, along with all the other things that come with day-to-day life in raising a family. Affordable rents. Some apartments can be as high as $1,400. I don't think there are many under $900 in the private market in the community, but there may be. So affordable rentals is always an option, always a need. We do a lot with back to school. Families, back to school is hard for some families with the school supply list and clothing and getting their kids off to school. So that is sometimes needs that come up that may not always be every month, but there is a need for back to school help.
Okay. How do you handle and get involved with the kind of emergency or crisis situations with any families that you're working with?
Yep. A crisis can happen at any time. The Acton Police and Fire Departments are great with referring people over or contacting me when there may be a crisis in the community. On a day-to-day, sometimes people call me with their own crisis. They may not be involved with public safety, but they do call. Churches call. Concerned neighbors also call as well. So when those kinds of things happen, we need to react first to the health and safety of the individual, and then from there we can look into different services that may be offered. For example, a domestic violence situation where a mom may have had to quit her job because the partner is no longer in the home and they have a young child. So, we have to look at immediate needs is making sure the child is safe and the mom is safe, and helping her, piece together what her most important needs are at that time. And then we go from there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think earlier this year we had, I had Chief Widmeyer on as a guest, and one of the things that struck me, and I think a lot of folks in town don't realize, is how prevalent or how many issues with domestic violence occur in the community, and and those are crisis situations, and you have to figure out how you can kind of deal with that situation and get separation if you need to, and find a safe place for people. Yeah. So it's people don't really realize stuff like that happens in Acton, but it really does.
It does. Yeah.
So. My next question, you've kind of answered it, but how do you work with other town departments when you're dealing with situations like that?
Yep. We work with open communication. All the departments have been great. Town departments that I tend to work more closely with would be the Police and Fire Department, the Acton Council on Aging, the Board of Health. And sometimes even the clerk's office downstairs and the assessor's office. It appears that people sometimes come into the town for one service, and then as they're talking to other departments, it may open up that they need other services. So a lot of times they send them up to my office, give me a ring on the phone, seeing if I'm available to help. So we all kind of work together. We all know each other's roles, and we try to coordinate services the best we can. And there are cases where 3 or 4 departments may be working with the same family.
Because even like the assessor's office, they have what is called a Clause 18, which they can grant some relief from taxes for hardship cases, and they have to evaluate it, obviously. But you know, I could see you could play a major role in them doing that evaluation. So you know, you've talked about kind of the internal town departments you work with. What other agencies do you are you involved with?
On the local level here in Acton, I have regular contact with the Acton Housing Authority, the Acton Food Pantry, the Community Supper at Mount Calvary Church, many of the clergy in town, the churches, Household Goods Recycling in Massachusetts. We are all almost in constant contact. I mean, there's things that people need. All the agencies have been great. If a family needs something and it's an off time or an off day for a service, they open their doors for them. It's been a great relationship, you know, because people are getting what they need, and there's a lot of understanding that not every situation can fit into a time slot or a day that's open. The food pantry has been great. They allow families to come in an emergency on a non-pantry day, and it has been a true blessing for a lot of families to be able to have that opportunity to get food.
So we have a program that's called the SERVE program, and I can't remember what SERVE stands for, but talk a little about what the SERVE program is, what it does, and if you remember what it stands for, tell us what it stands for.
I know it, SERVE stands for Serving Residents Through Voluntary Efforts. The acronym was coined by our HR director, Marianne Fleckner, and what the SERVE program does, how it started, was a voluntary employee donation to a fund at Town Hall where I can use those monies to purchase emergency gas and food vouchers for families. So what I do is every month I put in a request and I get a number of vouchers, and they are distributed as needed on an emergency basis to people who request them. Sometimes people don't know they're available at my office, but there is a need, so they're offered to them. So it kind of goes both ways. And right now, the Acton town employees have been wonderful. They're contributing to my fund. Some employees have decided to give their Christmas holiday gift in lieu of receiving it, giving it to the fund. So that has been wonderful. So that has been a success. We have some sub-branches of the SERVE program that have allowed outside donations to come in. So we do the food help as well, but also housing help, domestic violence, and fuel. So we do other categories as well.
And I was amazed because when we first rolled out the SERVE program, and you never know, you know, how employees are going to react to it or how the donation, but the donations have been pretty significant. It's like to the tune of, I think, $10,000 a year from town employees. Or
pretty close to that
like
amount.
It's something like
it's
that.
Pretty close. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The holiday help does kick it up a little bit to that number. So it's just wonderful, and I'm just grateful that we have that there, and the need has increased. I am getting more requests for emergency food and emergency gas, so what I have had to do is actually increase the number of cards that I request each month to meet that need. So it's been wonderful.
So if just one of our viewers wanted to donate money to the SERVE program, how would they go about doing that?
Yep. I would ask them to call me at my office. The number is 978-929-6651, and just talk to me. We work with other outside funds as well, so they can choose to donate to SERVE or to another fund that I may access in town as well. The checks can be mailed to the town of Acton, SERVE fund.
So as we're kind of approaching Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I know your office, since it's near mine, gets to look like Santa's workshop this time of year with a lot of donated mainly toys and clothes for families. How would somebody go about donating items to you for the upcoming holidays?
Certainly call me directly. We will also have giving trees at the Enterprise Bank in the Acton Woods Plaza, as well as the Middlesex Savings Bank on Route 27. So People can either go and choose a name tag of a child with wishes and return the gift to the bank, and I will be able to pick them up, or they can come directly to my office. And some people have chosen in the past to donate gift cards. That is always appreciated for food or other items. Kmart is an all-purpose store, so that is a good option for many families this time of year, as well as TJ Maxx. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of ways that people can donate. I encourage people to give me a call so we can talk more about it. I'd be more than happy to help them get their gift in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And if some of our viewers feel that maybe they need some help and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. Certainly give me a call, 978-929-6651, or you can email me as well at lducharme@acton-ma.gov. I respond to all requests, and all requests are confidential.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Laura, for being on the show today. I think that you provide a very valuable service to the town, and I think your position is one that a lot of folks don't know exists, and I think it's certainly helpful to get the word out that we have people that are in real need within the community. So I think once again, thank you for being on the show, and thank you to our viewers, and we'll see you next time on 472 Main.
Thank you.